Hello everybody. I thought I would do a updated video on getting PCEM, up and running here. For those that don't know what PCEM is, that may just take a second to open up. It's essentially a fusion between a virtual machine and an emulator. And what this software does is emulate, yeah, there it is, the entirety of a IBM PC from anywhere from the 80s, the DOS days, all the way up to Windows 98 hardware. And what's nice about this is instead of it just being generic hardware configurations, you can configure it to emulate the performance of any system you want. So I'm going to walk you guys through creating a new PCEM machine and installing Windows 98 on it. And then we'll go over a little bit of your driver configurations and things like that. And I will supply a folder of everything you need to do this, as well as a link to where you can download PCEM off their website because it's free software. And I will also include you guys a link to the BIOS files for this. And when you set up your BIOS, let's see here. Those all just get dumped in the ROM folder. You can see I have all these different BIOS sets and firmware for different pieces of hardware here. And open twice on me there. The first thing you're going to want to do is click on Create a System down here. We'll just name this Test Machine. And of course you're going to want to select your motherboard. And you've got everything on down to old 386s and 286s and all the way back to 888s there. So all the way back, clear back to the early days of home computers. But we're just going to go for the hot 557 socket 7, which gives us a variety of Pentium MMX chips here. And what's nice about this motherboard is if you select a socket 7 board, you can go through here and just swap out different speeds of chips depending on what your system can run full speed and what you need for any given game, because some games or pieces of software will perform incorrectly or too fast or with errors if you run them on too fast a CPU. It's not common when you're getting into stuff this old, but it can happen. I know an interesting one that's not related to the CPU so much of the memory is if you try to install Alien Trilogy on a Windows 9X machine that has too much RAM in it, it will actually loop back around, you know, completely turn over and detect that you do not have enough memory. So for that particular game, for example, you actually have to decrease the RAM installed in the emulated machine to play it. I apologize if I'm stuttering or anything here. It's late at night, and I've got headphones on, so I can't exactly hear what I'm saying as good as I could without them, because they're big, noise-canceling gaming headphones. And we're just going to leave 128 megabytes in it, because that's the max this board can handle. And we're going to use the 223, because that's about as much as I can emulate on my 5600X. And then for our display adapter, now there's two ways you can do this. I am just going to install a Voodoo 3000, which is an all-in-one card. But if you want to go back further, you can actually stick something like a 2D card in it, like a Verge. And then we can go to Voodoo, and then we can check Voodoo graphics and emulate a Voodoo 1 or Voodoo 2 external 3DFX card. And then, of course, you can select if you want a 2 or a 4 megabyte card, your render threads for it. That depends on how fast the CPU you have. If you have more cores, give it more threads. If you have less, give it fewer. I've got a 6-core CPU, so I would probably just give it all 4 threads if I was doing this. And then, of course, you can emulate a SLI configuration. But like I said, I am just going to do this the simpler way of the Voodoo 3000. And the default PCI bus speed. And for our graphics card, we're just going to stick a SoundBlaster 16 in there, because this is good for overall compatibility, and you don't have to install drivers with this, because Windows 98 SE already has the correct drivers included in the operating system to detect and use a SoundBlaster 16 compatible card. And of course, we have all our floppy drives and CD drives. For our hard drive, we're going to just create a new one here. We'll just do test image, or test 98. I apologize, I hit the open button instead of the create button. So yeah, you want this one right here that looks like a little CD drive. And we're going to name it test 98. And I'm just going to put 2 gigabytes in it. Since, you know, this is just a test image, we're not a test system, we're not going to be installing a whole bunch of stuff on. And it's creating the drive. Okay, right there, 1999 megabytes. Sector 63, head 16, cylinder 4063. I'm sure there might be some applications where you have to adjust your heads and cylinders, but I have not run into an issue just using the settings it automatically sets it to when you choose your hard drive size. And then we're going to boot this. I'm going to go into video here and set this to resizable and stretch mode to 4:3. So it stays our little 4:3 square here like an old monitor. Okay, now this is telling me boot failure because we need to insert our disks now. So I've got, let's see here. Here we go, 90 PCEM, and here is my Windows 98 2nd edition ISO, and of course, like I said, that went in the CD drive, and then we're going to go into disk, which is your floppy disk, and we're going to insert this boot disk image. And like I said, I'll include all this in the bundle of stuff I link in the description. And then we're going to press enter. This is going to take a minute to load here. And we're going to start Windows 98 setup from the CD-ROM. Just hit enter to do that. We're going to press enter to set up Windows, configure disk space, and we're going to enable large disk support. And of course, this is going to reboot and take us right back to that boot screen where we'll go into start Windows 98 setup again. And it'll run that again with large disk support enabled. And you don't need a real big hard drive for Windows 98. Usually when I make these machines, I use just a 5 gig drive, because that is more than plenty of space for Windows 98. And we will be speeding through some of this busy work and waiting here. Okay, we are back. Run through some more stuff here. And of course, C Windows is where we're going to install it to. I'm literally playing RoboCop versus Terminator on a handheld emulator in between doing this. It's an Ambernick thing that looks like a Game Boy. Let's see. I'm going to do custom here so I can install the themes. We will do something about those mouse issues when we can actually get into the operating system. Let's see. We'll just name this Test Crypted. United States, English. Okay, I'm going to use that as a reminder to go ahead and eject the boot disk, so when we start going through resets, it won't just boot back into that menu. And we're going to cancel this. I'm not going to bother with a startup disk since it's an emulated machine. And I will see you guys after the installation montage here. Okay, and I will supply you guys with a text document of a license key in that folder. since this is literally a 22-year-old depreciated operating system. Oh, excuse me. But for now, just in case YouTube wants to throw a fit, I'm going to go ahead and cover up what I'm typing in the actual video. And we're going to run through a bunch of driver stuff now. Because it's got to set up the SoundBlaster, the monitor, the emulated monitor. And it's got to set up the Voodoo 3 as a generic VGA device before we install the drivers. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this out of the way, filming at like 3 a.m. So sometimes I'm getting a little bit incoherent here. And like I said, once we start actually configuring the operating system inside of it, I will show you guys a fix for the little issues with transferring real mouse movement into the VM or the emulated machine. As you can see so far, though, it's a really simple process. Not nearly as difficult as you would assume setting up old operating systems are when you're unfamiliar with them. We're only about 30 minutes into this in real time. It has auto-detected the time, so we'll close that. We're going to skip setting up a password. Okay, and now it's going to install the monitor. We're going to search for the best driver. And we're going to make sure it knows to check the CD-ROM drive since we've got a Windows install CD in there. And yep, it found our monitor driver. It's going to run through updating system settings. And as you can see, hello? Quick on the fly sound test there. Like I said, excuse me, I shouldn't be drinking pop when I'm filming these videos. And as I said a minute ago, as you can hear, the SoundBlaster was detected and is working. And the first thing we're going to do is fix this mouse issue. And to do that, we're going to go into the control panel. And into the mouse settings, and we're going to go over here to motion. And crank that clear down to slow. And that essentially turns off mouse acceleration, which makes moving the pointer around within the PCEM environment a lot smoother. Okay, I'm going to switch to our driver disk here, which I will also include some ISO with drivers and software for you guys. And the first thing we're going to do is go into the Voodoo 3 folder and install our GPU. And we're going to reboot the system once again. Of course, it's going to rebuild the driver database since we just installed a new device. And now we're going to go into Properties, Settings. I'm going to do one other thing here, just for my personal benefit. Oops. Stuck that image in the root of C drive there. And we're going to run this up to 1024 by 768 and max color depth. We'll apply that without restarting. And as you can see, we have a much higher desktop resolution here now. And I am going to set this image I downloaded off the disk to our desktop. One very important thing about using CDs in Windows 98. If you're dealing with read-only files, like what is on a CD or an ISO, on like modern versions of Windows, doing this will just create a shortcut. So if you want to transfer them to the computer, you have to actually copy and paste the file. And then, of course, go in and disable read-only on your copy. And now that that's done, we're going to install DirectX 7, which is the, as far as I'm aware, the highest version of DirectX that Voodoo cards support is DirectX 7. You always want to do that. Have your latest Voodoo drivers and your latest DirectX no higher than 7. Because I have found Voodoo cards, at least when emulated like this, can perform very strangely when you don't have a DirectX version that matches the driver. And of course your latest setup would be the latest Voodoo driver optimized for DirectX 7 and DirectX 7. Of course, it's going to build a driver database and system settings again since we updated DirectX. I'm guessing it reinitializes the GPU drivers if you update DirectX. Would be my guess about the behavior of Windows 98. And then to test this, we're going to go into Run here and dxdiag, which is DX diagnostic. And as you can see here, we can see our CPU, our memory. And if we go into display, we can see our Voodoo 3 with 15 megabytes. If we go into sound, we can see a SoundBlaster 16. And then we're going to go back to display. And we're going to test everything. So direct draw works. Direct draw full screen works. And then we're going to test the Direct 3D. This is software rendering on the CPU. Yep. And then next, this is hardware rendering on the emulated Voodoo 3. So as you can see, all that works. And then of course, so I can see my internal frame rates, I'm going to install this old version of Fraps. And now, I'm going to open this so I can see what's going on over here. And that was just a status window for the emulator. And going to go into my games folder here. PCEM, and I believe I got a copy of Quake 2 in here. Yes, I do. So let's play a level or two of Quake 2. Don't you just miss the old installation process? My family's first PC back in 1999 was a Windows 98 compact Rosario. I don't even know what hardware was in it. So this really does bring back memories, this old system here. We're not going to be installing a whole lot on a test system, so we'll go ahead and use max install size. I don't know why it didn't detect the CD-ROM drive, unless it's just a bug with the emulated CD drive, where it doesn't return a speed. We'll open up Fraps there. And open up Quake 2. Apparently the 3DFX driver doesn't work with this card driver. So yeah, there we go. Loading up there.
Establish communications. Priority out.
And as you can see, we are playing Quake 2 on emulated original hardware. Turn on free look there. I'm going to go back around this way. Yeah, that's our crouch button. There's actually a shotgun in here. And now we'll go back around. I remember playing this as a kid, the shareware episode of it on a PC Gamer demo disc I found at Goodwill. And I think that may have been far enough back when it was when we still had a 3D, a Windows 98 machine. Load the next map area there.
Indicate possible camouflage access. Wet sector 430.
And of course, if I didn't have this crank clear up to the monitor resolution, it would actually be running a lot better on this configuration of hardware. But yeah, that's Quake 2. And now let's do something that I know this configuration has no problem running, but I'm sure you guys all want to see. Oops. I know I got it in here somewhere. Ah, okay. And of course, we'll install it. And this is the Doom 95 updated version. This is essentially Doom packed with a primitive source port. And we are going to update this to modern controls here. I'm not positive how fast this is going to run, because I've never tried testing this on a Well, I don't think that's relevant at all because I don't even think Doom 95 is going to be hardware accelerated. So yeah, here we go. And I forgot to actually bind fire on the mouse. So that's wonderful. So here is Doom 95 is run on a Pentium 223. I'm so used to playing this on GC Doom, on GZ Doom, I instinctively tried to press space and jump out of the pit there. And that's going to get us our shotgun out here. I guess this must not be a version of the WAD that has that hidden elevator there. There's like a backpack around here somewhere, I believe. Or at least I thought there was a backpack. Oh, there we go. I thought there was a backpack right there around that terminal. I was trying to get to the chainsaw, but that might be above my pay grade there. Because I know sometimes... Because for some reason, on any version of this map I've played, it's been really inconsistent if... I don't know if it's timed or what. But it's been like super inconsistent. If I can actually find a door that gets through to the chainsaw. Ah, well. So yeah, we'll just complete this level here and then wrap this up. Getting used to running at like 30 here. But yeah, there is Doom. Is there anything else we want to run here? Oh, I know. This is fun if any of you guys have never seen this before. Hopefully we got this set up right. And then, of course, we're going to set this up to modern controls. Yep. This is technically a DOS program, so... Okay, guys. You didn't see this off screen, but I had to move heaven and earth playing with the SoundBlaster configuration settings to get the music and the sound effects working. Now this is a fun one. This is a game that was commissioned by General Mills. turn my headphones down a tad here. That was commissioned by General Mills to include the cereal boxes. And this is exactly what it looks like. It is a Czech cereal themed first-person shooter built off of Doom, where you go around zapping away these green aliens with a interdimensional transporter. Because that's how they made it non-violent, was making it explicit that you're actually just zapping them back away to their home world. If you're Zorcher. And I remember this from when I was a kid. Because even though this was made in the DOS game, in the DOS days, I believe clear into the early 2000s, they were still occasionally including this in cereal boxes. And yes, we did used to have things like this in cereal boxes. This was before, if they wanted to give you something, it was just a download code. No, yeah, you could just blatantly see this is Doom. Because they didn't even change the HUD on it. You even got a little Czech soldier there that gets more and more covered in green slime as you take damage. Let's see if I can remember where those, here we go. See if I can feel it out and remember where those key cards are, because it's been a while. There we go. And I will link this for you guys too, because even if you don't want to play this in PCEM, the original developers of Chex Quest actually made a build of the game already configured with GZ Doom, available for free download. That's just got this, the downloadable sequel they made back in the day, and then a third game the developers made just for fun, all included as separate episodes. So I will include a link to that file for you guys. And there is our red key card. Yeah, there we go. No, yeah, I just wanted to show off that one last thing before we close it up. So, hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight on getting PCEM up and configured with Windows 98. And so that's a wrap for tonight, and God bless, and see y'all later.